Okay, so another question that came in from the same person. It says, "Will the Western Hemisphere be gone? Will we still be protecting Israel?" And this, of course, is referring to the original question that related to when exactly is the Battle of Armageddon, before or after the rapture. And of course, the source that I'm going to share a little bit of is from Walvard's book on Armageddon, Oil, and Terror. And I'm actually looking on page 88, starting on page 88 and going to about well past 100. And there's a lot of passages in the Bible, mostly in Ezekiel. I believe there's some passages, I know there's some in Revelation, but I think it's mostly Ezekiel, chapters 38, 39, 27, 32. There's a ton of different passages that are referring to some different names, and I'll probably get these wrong, but there's the word Gog or Gog, I guess it's Gog, G-O-G. It's talking about in Ezekiel 38, it says, "The prophecy of the battle of Gog and Magog, or Magog, I always have gotten those mixed up, begins with a list of 10 proper names in verses 1 through 7." And then it reads those names off. And I'll butcher each one of these. Rosh, or Rosh, which a lot of people believe is Russia. Meshech and Tubal, which people have given interpretations possibly of Moscow and Tobolsk, which are both two Russian cities. Persia, Ethiopia, which is referred to as Kush, Libya, which is Put or Foot, P-U-T, but I believe it's also pronounced Foot, Gomer, Beth Togarmah, and then there's some other names that are mentioned in there as well. It refers to Togarmah, which is also known as Til Garamu, which is the Assyrian army, and the Tagarma, which is the Hittites, or the territory rather. So it's looking like it's somewhere in modern Turkey, north of Israel. So, anyways, so that's a little bit of background there. It talks about Russia having some allies in the end times: Turkey, Iran, Libya, Sudan, and then the Islamic nations of the former Soviet Union. So there's a lot of different players here. Now, you notice that there's nothing in Scripture that I have seen, and I'm not just flipping through this book, and I've read this book a few times, but I have never heard of anyone at all saying that the United States would be a part of biblical prophecy, end times prophecy. It seems to me that there will be a fall at some point of this country. And if you look, every single major civilization that comes to what they believe is world power, world dominance, usually they max out somewhere between 250 to 300, 400 years. You've got the Romans, you have the Greeks, you have all, the Egyptian empires, you have all these different people. The United States, by many, pretty much everybody, I would say, is considered our world superpower. And our country has just recently, what is this, 224, getting close to that 250-year mark. Okay, we've just gone over the 240. So a lot of people could make the case and say the United States is definitely headed towards its decline. And of course, this is in the mindset of what we see with our current events. Just the vast majority of people who are becoming more and more reliant on someone to look over them and to care for them. Fewer people who are willing to actually get out and fight for their rights and for their freedom. And a lot of people could look at our current political climate and say, doesn't look like it's getting too promising. So, um, if I had to take a guess, I would definitely say that the United States has little to no role in the end times. It's almost like this country will be so irrelevant that it almost seems like the resources would be stripped, and people choose to follow the one world government, which of course is going to rise out of the Middle East, and people could choose to worship the who will become the Antichrist, the beast, or face death. They'll face punishment. So definitely not fun warm times that we're talking about here. But God tells us more than 365 times, He says, fear not. He says, don't be afraid, don't be scared. And that's just something we need to remind ourselves is this world is a temporary dwelling place. This is not our eternal home. Our eternal home is with Jesus Christ. So definitely not something to get sad and scared about, but it really should motivate us to get out and speak to people about our faith and to share that with others. So hopefully this doesn't depress you, but it will give you some hope, thinking forward. Jesus has got to be close to returning for his church. So, anyways, hopefully that helps.